Bills going into New England, Thursday night football. We're fading Josh Allen? No, hell no, we're not doing that. It's time! What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. We actually have a decent one for Thursday night football tonight. What are your thoughts on this matchup, man? The Bills haven't looked like the best team in the league. We know they have the potential for that. But Josh Allen is tied for most interceptions this year with Davis Mills. He's not a good red zone quarterback. There's been some kinks in the armor with this team. Do you think they bounce back for this one?
Yeah, man, I think this is their bounce back game. I think it's going to be really interesting, though. I mean, we know that Bill Belichick tend to have the Jets number over the past 20 years. So it's going to be tough to predict. It really, I think it's going to come down to which Josh Allen we see, right? It looks like his throwing arm is hurting him a little bit. So
yeah,
at this point, I think he's had enough time to kind of heal and get his shit together. This is an important game, man. I think the Bills take this one.
I think the Bills, we know that they're going to show up. We know, even if they have a bad game, they're still going to show up and they're still going to do what they have to do. The biggest question here is, what Patriots team are we going to see? Are we going to see the shitty, no offense at all Patriots where the defense pretty much carries them? Or are we going to see last week Patriots where Mac Jones throws for, 2 touchdowns? I mean, he had a great game last week. So I guess the biggest question is, which team do we see from the Patriots? Let's actually quickly jump into this lineup review from Monday night. We didn't do a show for this one. We were pretty busy with stuff. We did play and we did watch it. This is a Michael Pittman captain with Benny Snell, who is super low owned. You had a Najee Harris injury. Jelani Woods, Matthew Wright, Kenny Pickett, and Jonathan Taylor. Thoughts on this lineup, man? What jumps out to you here?
I think the Benny Snell piece is pretty interesting. Crazy enough, I did have a decent amount of exposure to him. I think I had like 5 or 10%. Just having that backup missing and the way that they were moving those touches, it just made sense to maybe have some exposure to some of those pieces. But outside of that, the most surprising is the MPJ captain spot. But
yeah.
I mean, I actually did pretty well. I had a lot of Jonathan Taylor at captain, and I wasn't scared to punt with, was it that Woods? Yeah, there he is, Jelani Woods, 1,400. Yeah. He was low enough owned that he ended up helping me profit and covered some NBA losses, so it worked out.
There you go. It's rare. It's usually the other way around. The NBA is covering your NFL losses. All right, let's get into this particular matchup. So Buffalo traveling into New England. I think it's going to be in the low 30s. It's going to be relatively cold. The thing that really surprises me here is obviously the total is at 43.5. That's pretty low for a Bills showdown. That just kind of goes to show you that these teams are a little bit closer than when we thought they would be like a few weeks ago. -4 spread for Buffalo, and they're only -188 on the money line. So thoughts about this, man? Is Vegas trying to tell us that this could be a pretty competitive game? Because if you just think about these teams, if you didn't watch last week at all, if you were just drunk on turkey and you had no clue that these teams both played, you'd think that Buffalo would be a huge favorite, right?
Yeah, man. But look, I think it really comes down to we really just don't know the status of Josh's arm injury. He's missing throws that he hasn't missed in probably about 2 years now. And it's expected with that. And then the other side of that is you still got Bill Belichick coaching the Patriots. He does just he has, I don't know why I was talking about the Jets earlier. Sorry. I mean, he's had his number in Buffalo. Just the whole AFC East.
Yeah,
he's dominated.
The whole AFC East.
Sorry, guys. It's been a rough day for the family here, so I'll get back on track. But look, I think Bill Belichick's going to have this team prepared. Without Damian Harris, I think we're going to see a lot of Ramondre Stevenson, and Buffalo struggled a little bit, defending the run, especially as of late. So it's going to be a close game. I think that this is one where we probably end up seeing the under hit. I don't think I've said that with the Josh Allen game for a while.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's look at our injuries here.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
So biggest news here is obviously Damian Harris is out. That really opens things up for Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson was already in a great play with Damian Harris. Now the guy just looks, I mean, I'm gonna lock him across the board, whether it's in captain or in the flex. You're talking about a guy, we'll get into it obviously more, but I'm really excited about this. I mean, he's got 39 targets. That would be crazy. 39 targets over the last 5 games. He's third this year in receptions for running backs behind CMC and Eckler. So I'm super excited about that. Jacoby Myers is questionable with a shoulder. I didn't really see a whole lot of information on whether or not people are thinking he's going to be in or not. Comment down below if you guys have heard anything on that. Jacoby Myers could be like a game time decision sort of thing. I don't know, but keep an eye on that because that's kind of big news. That really could open up some huge value for us. And if he does play, I'm super interested in him. Quentin Morris for Buffalo, a backup tight end, is questionable. That's pretty much all they have going on. Now, we did for Buffalo, we did see Kyer Elam back, the cornerback, along with Tre'Davious White. Sort of easing back into things. That they'll be active obviously this week, so that's kind of big for their defense coming back into their own. What jumps out to you here, Ellie? Anything interesting?
I mean, just the Damian Harris piece. I think me and the rest of the world are now just excited that we can play Ramondre Stevenson and not have to worry about Bill Belichick splitting touches. Well, not have to worry as much, but again, I don't have any issue playing $200 guys, which we'll get to. But on the other side of the ball, these are injuries we kind of knew about. I am glad that they're getting their Tre'Davious White, their corners back. Tre'Davious White's a fun corner to watch. I know that's a weird thing to say, but hey, man, I like watching good defenders. And I think it's going to make a difference, right? It's going to really impact their ability to throw the ball, which they already struggle with in New England. So,
yeah. All right,
yeah.
let's get into this breakdown. Break it down. All right, so Josh Allen's 12.2K, expensive AF. Obviously, that's to be expected. Probably the highest owned captain. Although Ramondre Stevenson might pick up a lot of ownership in this one, so he might actually be one of the top guys. But typically speaking, everybody's going to play Josh Allen at captain. Probably. I mean, look, if we had to talk about cash here real quick, you got to go Josh Allen in cash or single entry at captain, or do you save a little bit of money with Ramondre Stevenson with the amount of volume he gets?
I think you can be fine with Josh Allen just because again, I'm comfortable playing $200 guys, so I have no problem punting with a guy like JJ Taylor at 200 just so I can get Josh Allen a captain for cash. But I think we'll have to try and build with him. It's just really rough building with him, and honestly, on a slate where you're going to tie, where you're trying to tie, or get the top 40%, like you might, if the $200 guy is 5% owned, all those lineups might be the optimal. So yeah. It'll be tough to build with Josh Allen.
I mean, look, obviously the dude's going off rushing wise. I mean, we can pretty much guarantee the dude's probably going to get you 50 rush yards. He absolutely goes off. The interesting thing about New England's rush defense is they give up 6.3 yards per carry to quarterbacks this year. And against the running backs, it's only 3.7. They're absolutely crushing against running backs, but not so much about against the quarterbacks. So that could be a huge boost for Josh Allen this week. You could see him running the ball a little bit more with that, elbow sort of bothering him and him making some inaccurate passes in the red zone. I do expect some more running opportunities, some read options, whatever they're cooking up over there, to allow him to run the ball more in the red zone potentially because he's having a lot of these issues. When it comes to Mac Jones, he's 9,400. He's priced down. I mean, the dude had a great week last week. He had his best start of the year, maybe even more than a year. Threw for 382 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw the ball 39 times, and got you 26 fantasy points. I don't see that happening in this particular game against this defense, but what are the chances that a $9,400 guy who touches the ball every offensive play is going to at least get you 16, 17 fantasy points? That might be enough in a low total like this, right? So what are your thoughts on Mac Jones?
Look, I'm not that high on him. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But look, I think that the field's going to kind of come low on him too. So if we start to realize that he's just coming in under own, then I'll probably have a little bit more exposure to him. But those high performing weeks, those look more like outliers to me. He's more consistent at being bad or below average, and his good games look like outlying performances. So uh, I think this is kind of a game where you can actually fade Mac Jones. I want more Josh Allen because of the rushing upside that you were talking about, and Bill Belichick. He's going to try and keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. It's going to go. He's going to feed the running backs. This is a perfect game script for Mac Jones to end with his 2 completions on 4 attempts for 12 yards. So that's not something I would be surprised to see.
Look, Josh Allen, obviously a lot of people are going to play him at captain. In tournaments, I'm not playing him at captain. Especially with, like, I know last week he still had a good game. I mean, he still had 29 or 30 fantasy points. But if there's ever a game where Josh Allen could come in where he just doesn't perform great, this could be that game. I'm just not interested in not playing him in the flex. I'm still going to have 100% of him in the flex, just maybe not a captain. Running backs. Let's start with where the news is at. New England. Ramondre Stevenson is 10.4K. Expensive, but well worth it. He will be, along with Josh Allen, probably my highest owned player. Tons of volume this year. Completely active in the pass game. He's been kind of their number one guy lately as far as receiver-wise. And one thing that, maybe people aren't talking about or haven't heard of is, Bill Belichick has been praising his pass blocking abilities as well. So, in theory, this guy could be in first through third down. They don't have to pull him out. They can just leave him in. He's going to be in a lot. Probably, if I had to guess, I'd probably say 75 to 80% of the snaps. So you're going to see a lot of him. Now, when it comes to the backup here, obviously Damian Harris is out. J.J. Taylor has been on and off the squad quite a bit this year. Re-signed to the practice squad earlier this week, or I believe last week, sometime after that other game. And he's expected to be elevated for this game. He's $200. J.J. Taylor has been in the system since 2020, I believe. He hasn't gotten a ton of run. But when injuries happen, man, guys got to step up, especially, on a Bill Belichick team. They're going to rely on Taylor, I believe. And if he can get you 6 fantasy points, as like a floor, I do think that you can still cash if he doesn't do well. But I do like him, man. And then you got a guy like Pierre Strong. I don't really know. I mean, look, this is the Patriots. I have no clue who's going to actually get those backup snaps. I have no clue. It seems like J.J. Taylor will be the guy, but I kind of want to wait until closer to lock to see where that's going. So what are your thoughts here? Obviously, Ramondre Stevenson, play him. But what about these other guys?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think JJ Taylor's the guy. I mean, he only has 1 game played. In that game, he had a 13% snap share. So I think that he's the guy that's gonna get involved. He got a lot of run last year. We saw that Bill Belichick trusted him in situations with the same backfield, mind you, Damian Harris and Rondé Stevenson suffering injuries. We saw a lot of run from JJ Taylor. So I don't necessarily think that this is that big of a reach to assume that he's going to be active. Yeah, I mean, look at this. So just look at his output in the games that he's actually played. If his floor at $200 is 1.1 fantasy points, like, I can take that on a slate like this. I want to get some of these studs. So I have no problem. Obviously, to your point, we need to see who's active. And I swear to God, if he only comes in with 2 running backs active and it's JJ Taylor, I will have 100% of it.
Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure. If there's any reports that come out later in the day, or we start to see, okay, JJ Taylor was active and some coach said something about him, I might just have to click this button right here. Because you've had Damian Harris as the other guy. Now we don't have Damian Harris. So JJ Taylor could be that guy. At least I hope so. But this is the Patriots, so just keep in mind Pierre Strong could come out and have 12 carries. I don't know, but as of now, JJ Taylor is that guy. All right, let's move on to Buffalo. Devin Singletary, 7K. He seemed like the number one dude straight up last week. James Cook barely saw the field. Naheem Hines saw the field even less. Devin Singletary ended up, I think he had, 72 yards or something like that. He looked pretty good last week. Now, maybe that's a whole just, hey, let's ride the hot hand sort of thing. He started looking good, and they kept feeding him. I don't know. We've started to see James Cook come on more often, but we didn't see it last week. So I don't know where this is headed. They traded for Naheem Hines. He's at 3K. James Cook is 3,600. Naheem Hines hasn't really done shit this year. Even on the Colts, he didn't do much. And we all had pretty high expectations. I got a ton of him in best ball because I thought he was going to be that guy. He hasn't. When do we see a Naheem Hines game? I don't know, man. I don't even know how often he's going to be on the field. So what do we do here, man? And obviously Reggie Gilliam's $200, a random dart throw. You might get a fullback handoff on the 1 yard line. That's all you're really asking for. So what do we do with all these guys, man? Are you interested in Devin Singletary? I think he's going to be low owned, and I think he could be, the guy getting all the carries.
So look, I like Devin Singletary probably exclusively as just kind of a one-off captain play. I doubt he's going to have much ownership at the position at all. And at 7K, he's going to give you a lot of flexibility, especially if you throw in a $200 JJ Taylor. And he's going to need a touchdown to pay that off. But at one of those 16 to 17 point performances, that might be enough to optimize that captain spot. But at the flex, I really just don't know if I'm going to get any of them. It's probably not going to work out just the way that salary is. I think you kind of got to come down a little bit in price and go to somebody a little bit cheaper if you want to play, the kind of our core of Allen, Diggs, and Stevenson, or my core. I don't know if we've gotten.
That's my core. No, that's my core. I'm going to have those guys in every single lineup, whether it's in the captain or the flex.
Yeah. I don't think that that's shocking news to anybody. So that's why I just assumed.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on these backups, though, man? Like, it's kind of I don't know how much James Cook is going to play. I don't know how much Naheem Hines. I think they're both incredible players. James Cook looks fast. Naheem Hines, we know what his upside is. He's very athletic, can catch the ball out of the backfield. I don't know if they're going to play. So, is it worth taking a shot on these guys?
I mean, look, I probably not. I mean, if you're in a 150 max, you can take a couple lineups with them. I think you prioritize James Cook. I'm not sure Naheem Hines is there yet. I have him in regular season long and best ball as well. So, I've been stat tracking him all season. He's not getting there. Look, I think this position is just going to come kind of as a natural fade. Just you're not going to be able to pay for this just because you're going to be paying for your core and then looking for other more balanced plays, not something so risky at the prices that we're seeing here.
Yeah, you're right. I just don't think that people are going to really get a lot of these guys. They usually never do unless there's some weird price mismatch where James Cook is $200 or something like that. I don't think these guys are going to be very popular, and you could find a lot of leverage by, putting Singletary at the captain or handcuffing Singletary and Cook in the flex. I'm not saying that I necessarily want to do that a lot, but it could be a way to get you different. And, this team is favored, so maybe they could be running the clock down in that fourth quarter. Let's go to wide receivers here. Stephon Diggs, 11.6K. Gabe Davis, 8K. Isaiah McKenzie, 6,800. So Stephon Diggs, clearly, in my opinion, a top 3 wide receiver in the league. Obviously, one of these studs that can absolutely go off. He hasn't been having like the best of years, but he's still a very solid, incredible play. And we know what his ceiling is. Gabe Davis is the definition of flip a coin. Is he going to get you 47 fucking fantasy points, or is he going to get you 3? I have no clue. You might as well flip the coin because we just don't know what to expect from him. I do think that this year, maybe I'm being a little bit drastic, but 5 fantasy points isn't going to get it done for you at 8K. You're going to need one of these upper echelon outputs. And to me, if he's going to be getting you 21 fantasy points, I just want to put him at captain. You know what I mean? To me, Gabe Davis is the ultimate captain. Play a lot of, be above the field, and then in the flex, baby, be under the field. That's maybe how I'm going to play it because like I said, I'm going to get those 3 guys in every lineup, the 3 studs. I don't know how much room I'm going to have for Gabe Davis at 8K. I just don't know. Isaiah McKenzie, 6,800, absolutely went off. I think his ownership should be inflated this week compared to what it usually is. But you know, he doesn't have a lot of these outputs. Maybe he's just coming into his own. Maybe him and Josh Allen are building up more trust, and they're starting to develop more of a scheme for him. I don't know, but 10 targets, 96 yards and a touchdown, 2 rushing attempts. That's pretty interesting to me at 6,800. If he stays under 20% ownership, I might go heavy on him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he'll come in pretty low on just considering his price point there. I think people kind of expect him to be a little bit cheaper than that. But I love Isaiah McKenzie at 6,800. I think he's a great step down from Gabe Davis. And I think you can kind of prioritize Gabe Davis at the captain spot by playing a little bit more McKenzie. I also think if you want to get real crazy with it, you can fade Stephon Diggs, throw Gabe Davis at captain, and then stack Isaiah McKenzie and Davis with Josh Allen. So, I mean, maybe we can try to build like that and see what it is, but then we'd be capturing kind of the upside for what Gabe Davis provides, so partnered with Isaiah. And look, Isaiah McKenzie is going to get carries. I mean, he had 2 attempts last week. For a while there, I mean, if you play back our shows last year, we were hoping that he would get a goal line carry, and that's why we were playing him. And that's, it worked out. He started getting a lot of involvement in the offense. So, look, let's keep it simple. I will have a minimum of one of these guys in every single lineup. Probably 2 if I can.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is throwing them the football. Even with a fucked up arm, he's still top 5 quarterback in the league.
The minimum of 1 for me is Stephon Diggs. So I might have to do a minimum of 2, including the tight ends. That might be what I end up doing. Any interest in Khalil Shakir here at $200? I mean, dynamic, fast player, one of these gadget guys. He's a return man. I mean, what if he busts out a punt return for a touchdown? What if he gets a reverse end around or something that can score? At $200, he might be a nice little pivot off of probably a more popular JJ Taylor, right?
Yeah. Look, I don't mind him. I think you probably can cap it around 5%, but you can get a couple lineups with him. The issue is like with the guy like this, if we're punting at this price point, like Jelani Woods. Like despite Snell having that touchdown, you had to have both Snell and Woods to win.
Yeah.
Right. Like otherwise Woods was still gonna outscore Snell. So I think the same thing kind of applies here. But we can this is a slate where I think you might be fine playing both Shakir and both JJ, because JJ is not a pure punt at this point.
No, he's not.
He's a backup. He's an RB2 that we're expecting 25% volume. He's just a mispriced guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't want to talk now. I'm just excited to build.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. New England wide receivers. Jacoby Myers questionable. I have no clue if he's going to play or not. Not seeing a whole lot of reports on him, so keep an eye on that. If he does play, I'm super interested. If he doesn't play, well, that opens up a whole lot of other stuff. Devontae Parker's 5,600, Nelson Aguilar's at 4,800, Kendrick Bourne 2,200, and Tyquan Thornton 400. So what do we do here, man? Devontae Parker looked incredible last week on Thanksgiving. Nelson Aguilar is one of these guys that can catch touchdowns, and same with Kendrick Bourne over here. So what do we do here, man? I personally really think that you got to force one of these guys in your lineups because they're just not going to pop on optimizers.
Yeah, so look, I'm gonna have a lot of Mac Jones, or I'm not gonna have a lot of Mac Jones. I'm gonna have a bunch of Ronnie Stevenson. So I'm probably gonna need to sprinkle in a decent amount of these pass catchers just to kind of balance that out a little bit in case they do throw. Jacoby Myers, Devontae Parker. Like I don't want to spend too much time here, but that's wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. I think both are fine captain options if you think the Patriots are going to be able to keep this competitive through the air. But otherwise, you're probably prioritize them at flex. Nelson Aguilar is another one of those random guys. I think I said it on the Thanksgiving slate, right? Like, pay attention to Aguilar or Bourne. These are 2 guys that can just fuck shit up and just randomly score a touchdown. Now, the 2 guys that I am really going to be keeping a close eye on is Bourne and Thornton. Because they will actually get involved in the run game a little bit. They've only got about 1% of snaps or carries, rushing attempts on the year of the team's total attempts, but who knows? Especially Tyquan Thornton at $400, if he's going to be lining up a wide receiver and get maybe 5 to 10 of the running back snaps, like that's a punt I'm willing to take. We've seen it earlier in the season. He has the ability to break one for a touchdown. So, we don't know what Bill Belichick's going to do. So I am potentially interested in getting a little bit of exposure to him. But look, I think you probably want to get one of these pass catchers in a decent amount of your lineups. You probably don't need any more than one, though.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that one. And if you do have more than one, you probably want to throw Mac Jones in there with him. But I think you got to pay attention to these guys because one of them will score a touchdown, in my opinion. And I don't know which one. It could be any one of these guys. I have no clue. So spread yourself out. If you had to choose one guy with a gun to your head, probably Jacoby Myers if he's active. Besides that, I'd probably go with Devontae Parker, but he seems more like a boomer bust type player. I don't know. Besides that, it's just another flip a coin situation. Tight ends, Hunter Henry 4,600 should have had 2 touchdowns last week. Probably would have broke the slate. I'm sure that's a bad beat. I'm sure somebody had him at captain and lost out on that touchdown. 4,600. He's in that kicker range, so this is kind of like that last position that you'd throw in. One thing to mention here is this the same? Let me see here. Bills defense is good against the tight ends. They have not given up a touchdown all year to the tight ends. So I don't know how much that really matters in a 1-game slate, but just something to mention. Jonnu Smith is 1,400 as well. Jonnu is always one of these guys that I think, I'm always like, man, I know Jonnu could come out and score 2 touchdowns. When is he going to get a 25 fantasy point game? And he just never does it. But he's $1,400, so of course I'm going to play him again, right? I mean, what do you think about these two guys?
Yeah, I think Johnny Smith is fine at 1,400. I don't think I'm going to have much Hunter Henry. I think a lot of people might actually have a little bit of a recency bias with his performance. Probably should have had 2 touchdowns on Thanksgiving. Didn't come down with it. So it is what it is. But I do think he makes for a little bit of an interesting captain play if you want to get some exposure to the tight ends. But again, I just think that there's more comfortable punts on this slate so that we can pay up for it's studs who have a much more consistent floor.
Yeah. I'd rather. I mean, if they come in around the same ownership, I'm gonna go to Jonnu probably, just because that price difference. They project kind of close. So if Henry's ownership is inflated because of last week and how many people were watching that game, I'm going Jonnu, and I'll probably just take a 0 and move on. Let's go to the other side here. Dawson Knox, 6,200. Quentin Morris, 800. He is questionable. So if he's out, you can look at Tommy Sweeney or Zach Davidson at 200 each. Dawson Knox is one of these guys that is a little bit frustrating to me. He hasn't had a great year this year if you really look at it, but we know what he's capable of. We know he can get a 25 fantasy point game, 23, 20. He's had a good stretch last year, just not really seen it this year. But what are your thoughts on him, man? 6,200. Is there anybody in this price range or cheaper that you'd rather play?
I mean, look, if I can possibly punt somewhere else or spend down in another position, then I wanted to try and get up to Isaiah McKenzie at 6,800. But at 6,200, I'm not hating the play Dawson Knox. At the end of the day, like, he still has Josh Allen throwing the ball to him. He does have opportunities to score touchdowns. It just hasn't panned out so much this year. So, look, I'll probably end up being with the field, but I'm not going to be prioritizing him in any lineups. I think if you have 6,500 left, he's probably fine to play.
Yeah, and I mean, this year Dawson Knox just doesn't really. Usually I'd be like, yeah, put him at captain. I'd have some exposure to him at captain. I just don't think he's got that ceiling this year for whatever reason. So he feels like more of a flex play to me this week. What were you going to say about these other scrubs?
Look, if Quentin Morris is out, I don't mind Tommy Sweeney. Even if Quentin Morris plays, I don't give a shit, man. You can play some of these guys, right? 800, $200. Josh Allen's throwing the ball. Don't feel like you don't have to, especially in a 150 max or 20 max. You can play 1 or 2 lineups. 150, probably 5 to 10. But otherwise, you can stick with JJ Taylor. But sure, they're fine.
All right, so low scoring game, division rivalry, cold. Are you interested in kickers? It's a lower total. Hey, look, the Bills can't score in the red zone, or at least are very inefficient in the red zone. Does that give a decent boost to Tyler Bass? Maybe 3 or 4 field goal opportunities?
Yeah, as long as Josh Allen's not throwing the interceptions in the red zone.
Yeah,
I think
true.
he's got like 4 or 5 picks in the red zone over the
Yep.
past 2 or 3 weeks. So, that's the piece that matters. But yeah, I do think one of these guys will probably be in the optimal. Um, Not to spend too much time on it. It's just it's going to be too hard and close total like this. Most likely going to take as many points as they can when they can.
Yeah, this is not a situation, in my opinion, where I'm limiting kickers below the field. I'm probably be 20 to 25% each with them, just in case. The worst possible thing that you can ever happen is fading a kicker and they score you and they score 20 fantasy points. It's brutal. Yeah, you close your laptop and you're pissed. Defenses. So Bills defense 5,200. They're going to be relatively popular, but hey, Patriots too. They're 3,200. Patriots defense, because of their price, going up against one of the best offenses in the league. That's pretty interesting. 3,200 being priced down. I'm kind of interested in that, right?
Yeah, man. Look, if they're in this game, it's going to be because the Patriots defense has helped them stay competitive. And the way that Josh Allen's been turning the ball over, one pick six changes everything, especially at 3,200. And then the Bills defense 5,200. I'm not entirely interested, but I will probably have 5 to 10%. I'm just never really a big fan of playing defenses, man.
Yeah. Josh Allen tied for the league in interceptions, which is crazy. If he throws a pick in this game, he will be the leader for at least a few days, at least until Davis Mills plays again. All right, so let's get on to our captain choice. Let's do it.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
We're crowning their ass. DraftKings, our favorite captain option. Ellie, you're going Stevenson. I agree with you on this. I'm going Diggs. Most people will probably have either one of these guys or Josh Allen. Thoughts on? Do you think Josh Allen will be the most popular captain with kind of some struggles, even though he's been crushing still? Do you think that Stevenson is the highest owned captain in this one?
I do think it's possible Stevenson is the highest owned captain. I just think that I don't know, man. Him and Allen should probably be 1A, 1B. And then Diggs should be probably the third or fourth highest owned. But Stevenson, I think people will shy off of him a little bit because they're going to be hesitant to run, one or two Patriots with one of them at captain against the entire Bills offense, right? I mean, it seems kind of counterintuitive to have a shitload of Ramondre Stevenson if you think that they're going to be playing from behind the whole game. So I don't know, man. I think it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see some ownership come off of Steven as we get closer to lock.
Yeah, the one interesting thing you said there was, the running back on a team that traditionally runs the ball a lot, being down is probably not a good option. But this dude's been catching the ball in the backfield and getting involved quite a bit. I think they're making that into their offense. They're helping Mac Jones out a little bit, getting the ball out of his hands quick. You could see another 10 targets to Stevenson in this game, especially if they can't get the ball going down the field, especially if Jacoby Myers is out as well. They're going to turn Stevenson maybe into their number one guy as far as pass catching. Let's get to our fade here.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
I'm fading Allen at captain, not because of any other reason other than ownership and price. I don't like building with him at captain. It's a little bit more difficult, but most likely he's going to get played a lot there. Fine, I'm just not going to do it. Ellie, are you fading Mac Jones in the flex across the board here? Or are you just doing a little bit under the field?
I'll probably be under the field. I honestly don't know how much I'm going to get to him at all. I'm going to be prioritizing Stevenson and then putting in Diggs and Allen, and then just seeing where my salary takes me from there, because I'm probably going to want to get one or two more Bills despite that. Probably not much of Mac Jones at all, man.
Let's get into our lineup build. Let's click a button and see what calculator spits out at us. Josh Allen, captain, big surprise. J.J. Taylor in the flex, Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, Ramondre Stevenson, and Stephon Diggs. I wouldn't go down this route. This is definitely not a cash lineup at all. This is not a single entry lineup, in my opinion. Let's build a safer lineup with Josh Allen at captain. So Josh Allen captain, I want to absolutely put Stephon Diggs. I want to absolutely put Ramondre Stevenson. Now, out of these guys, if I had to choose one in a cash build, I probably would get rid of Diggs just because of Stevenson's upside and Josh Allen is touching the ball every single play. Let's put in JJ Taylor, and now we got 9,500 for 2 spots. We can go kicker. Probably want to get at least one kicker, right?
Yeah, let's do that. What does that leave us?
That leaves us with 5,300. So you can get the Bills defense, Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry, or you just go all the way down to another kicker. Maybe Bills defense. I don't hate that. What do you think? Hello? He's frozen. I thought he was really, really studying this. All right, 1 second. Hello? You're there. Ellie, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
I can hear you now.
Hey, nice. I don't have to edit this now. All right, cool. All right, let's just keep going. Did you like that lineup with Bills defense as a last spot?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Let's move on to another captain here. Let's go with Diggs. He's only about a $900 savings in the captain spot. Let's put in Josh Allen with him. Let's put in Ramondre Stevenson. I want these guys in almost every lineup. Where do we go now, man? Do you want to go? Is this a Mac Jones situation? Do you want to stack another wide receiver with Allen? What do you think?
Yeah, let's throw in JJ Taylor and then Isaiah McKenzie. That probably leaves 3K left.
3K? Yeah. So what does that put us at? That puts us at Naheem Hines, Kendrick Bourne, Jonnu Smith. Yeah, pick your poison, basically.
I wouldn't mind Kendrick. Yeah, Kendrick Bourne. And that's a 4-2 that I'd be comfortable. Oh, well, that's a 3-3.
3-3.
But I'd still be comfortable with running that,
Yeah. Naheem Hines, let's put him in there. Let's put Jonnu in there. All right. Do you want to do a little bit heavier of a... I mean, it feels like to me, Stevenson and Taylor are going to be in a lot of my lineups as the 2 Patriots. So it feels like to me like doing 2 4s or 4 2s with Patriots, or even just at bare minimum 3 3s might be kind of, open up a lot of potential, because I don't want all of my exposure for this team going just to these guys. I want to get some more wide receivers from the Patriots. Can we do can we throw in a Jacoby Myers here? Let's see what that gets us.
Yeah.
2,600. Similar. I mean, I'm not doing a Kendrick Bourne without Mac Jones. Probably not a Jonnu Smith without Mac Jones. So this lineup might not work out. Let's go lower. Let's do Devontae Parker or Nelson Aguilar. Which one do you prefer?
Let's start with Devontae Parker. I think that's gonna put us in range for the kicker.
It is.
That's fine.
Tyler Bass, that gets us. Yeah, that's a nice lineup right there. That's decent. I mean, Devontae Parker scares me a bit. He could get you 0. Let's save that with Nick Folk as well. Let's move on to Ramondre Stevenson. He's so much cheaper. He is, what is that? He's like 2.8K cheaper than Josh Allen. That's a big difference there. So let's get Josh Allen in. Let's get Stephon Diggs in here. Now, do you want to do anything crazy? You want to do a 2-4 here? You want to put Stevenson and not JJ Taylor with 4 Buffalo?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. Throw in Mac Jones, and then throw in Shakur Tupac.
Nice.
Throw him in.
Nice. Okay. 1K. So this is another punt.
1K.
Thornton, which is not a terrible option,
Yeah.
but I would just go to JJ Taylor at that point. So this is a 3-3.
Yeah.
That's kind of rough. Instead of Mac Jones, let's just go Taylor. Screw it.
And Jacoby.
Hang on. Let's just go Taylor and see what happens here. Let's try to get 2 more Bills players in. I mean, we should go. So we got to get some Singletary. I know we haven't mentioned it, but that was the exact reason why we thought he'd be so low owned, because he just doesn't really fit well in here. So let's get Singletary. That leaves us with 3,400. Where does that put us? Patriots defense. not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's a 3-3. Or Naheem Hines. So you got Singletary, Hines, Allen, and Diggs. Run back with 2 running backs on the other side in a low total. That's not bad. You just switch out this last guy. Switch out with Bourne. Switch out all these guys. It's pretty much, right?
Yeah, just rotate him in there, man.
All right, who's the last guy you want to build with here at captain?
Well, let's do. I got 2 more guys. Let's do Devin Singletary and just build a real quick one with him and see how that looks.
Nice. Okay, Singletary, Allen, Ramondre, and Diggs, right? 5,300.
Yeah. Throw JJ in.
JJ Taylor.
Oh, this is not bad.
Or anybody else at 200.
Yeah.
5,100, man. Hey, Aguilar. Any of these guys. Hunter Henry. Each kicker. Or you know what? You want to get cray cray. Go James Cook. Well, that doesn't really do much for you. But hey, you leave a little bit on the table. All right. Who else?
Let's throw our boy JJ in there. Don't even build. Just hit optimize.
I'm just hitting optimize, man. Jacoby, Gabe Davis, Ramondre Stevenson, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. Hang on, let's do something else. That's nice. Don't get me wrong. Actually, hang on. Let me save that just in case. Can we do something else instead of Gabe Davis and Jacoby?
Yep.
What do you want to do? Singletary?
Let's throw in throw in Singletary. Okay. And what does that give us left?
85.
Oh,
Hundo.
Jesus.
Probably Gabe Davis. I mean, honestly, I'd probably want to get
Davis, yeah.
I'd probably want to get Mac Jones in here. I mean, let me just try it. Let me just try it.
I mean, may as well.
Devontae Parker. Nelson Aguilar. That's pretty nice. Hunter Henry. You get all these dudes. Hey, the building has been pretty nice for this one. The last couple Showdown slates we've done, the pricing has been very, very tight, and it hasn't been too fun building. So what are you taking out of this, man? What are you seeing here? Where should we focus a lot of our flex, and where should we be focusing our like roster constructions? 4-2s, 3-3s, 5-1s. What do you think?
I think you need to focus on 5-1s or 4-2s. And honestly, you might even have to do it backwards. I think it's 1-5s and 2-4s. You're gonna throw Ramondre Stevenson in captain, or whatever you think the highest scoring player is, because that's, I think, where the points are gonna go.
Yeah. So what's your what's your score prediction, and what is your low-owned player that you think can score?
I'm gonna go with JJ Taylor as the low-owned dude. I think is gonna score, depending if he's low-owned. My backup's Tupac Shakur, and then I think the final score to this game is let's go with 34-21 Buffalo.
24-19 Buffalo. I'm going with Jonnu Smith. My boy Jonnu is going to score here. See you guys later.